semi-annual retreat. That was good. So thank you for setting all that up. Okay, let's do roll call. Brad, do you want to start us?
Brad Eller, board member.
Corey Holmes, board member.
Jay Collette, board member.
Jason Watt, business administrator.
Brianne Diedrichson, board member.
Kim Dickerson, board member.
Eric Peterson, superintendent.
Okay, we're just going to go right into the boundary discussion. Superintendent, do you want to lead?
Yeah,
What's going on it?
really the first item of business. So last time there were a lot of different requests for information that we're going to bring in and let you guys look at. The first of those two is you wanted to look at two different boundaries, so we'll invite Eric Campbell up. He's created those boundaries. So two different sets of information that he's going to go over that were requested. Number one is what we're calling boundary G and H. It's a good thing we have to set a boundary pretty soon, or we may get to Z. But we've got G and H, and then there was also a request to look at the low-income population down through elementaries when it came to those boundaries. Because one of the four priorities we were looking at was a demographically fairly similar school, and so we had the ones that were on our thing that were from more. I think those were middle and high school projected up through on their right. But we didn't have it down into the elementary schools, so we could see what was coming in the future. So anyway, that's what Eric's going to share with us.
Stacy, can I take this one over?
I want to welcome our visitors too. We don't. Katie, I'd welcome.
Are your, whose computers on? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
There we go, sorry.
So, through the boundary committee, one of the ones that we were asked to look at is G was looking at the boundary instead of the current one, which you can see kind of in that dotted line there, which is the current split of J.R. Smith between them. It was also corresponds with our scenario D. This one was asking to kind of use River Road as the guide. Now this one does not follow River Road exactly, but it does follow based on at least some of the planning maps we see, those communities that are now currently putting some roads in that empty out onto, when I say River Road, I know it changes when it gets on the other side.
Highway 32.
Highway 32. So this would be the ones that empty out onto 32, or you can access those areas from 32, or even the new developments that are proposed from 32. That's where that line is. We took kind of the back of those properties as opposed to just splitting Route 32 in half. So that's what this G is, and you can see what the numbers kind of look like on that one as it relates to school. It does create a, they start off fairly similar, but then over those 5 years of, again, the kids and seats, and what we can tell from those neighborhoods that are already kind of built out, we can see that would change the two schools within a few years, what that would look like.
So just to clarify, that's Highway 40 up SR 32, but you're saying that some of them goes around the backside of the neighborhood, just in that split?
Well, and again, there's no kids up there, but
Okay.
the subdivisions
A plan,
over there. Yeah.
okay.
So any subdivision that would empty, its main access would be 32 would be included in that, 32. Otherwise you're splitting
the neighborhood in half.
Right, yeah.
And the area in gray, is that 2026 or is that 2030 or is that?
That's
average?
2026. All those numbers were, yeah, 2026.
Will you just remind me, where is the current dividing line geographically of J.R. Smith?
It's the dotted line.
But what physical address is that?
So I'm so glad you asked. Because I put it like that.
Let's see this.
So that would be option D, correct, Eric?
Yeah, that's where our
That's where
current
the
boundary
boundary
is
would
at right
be if you chose option D. That's the current J.R. Smith boundary.
And when we originally created that boundary, the Heritage Farms Parkway did not exist at that time, so we took the back those homes that were there on, I think that road, and Corey, you can correct me, I think it's Valley Hills Boulevard, is that the one that kind of parallels that on that north end, right in the middle of it anyway?
Where are you at, right? Are you talking right here?
Yeah.
Heritage Farms Parkway is the one that empties by Smith, right?
Right, that is, in that one, when we originally created that boundary, that road did not exist. So we took the back of those homes that were on that road that you just pointed to. And without Google up, I'm not, so many Valley Hills, different roads like that.
So
You know what, maybe your guy running maybe John can tell you what that road is, because I forget what they are. What's that? What's that? What's that road there, John?
Yeah,
You
Valley Hills
live
Drive.
right here. What's that road? Valley Hills Drive?
It is Valley Hills Drive.
Okay, Valley Hills Drive.
so D takes Highway 40 and then
Thank you.
cuts up Valley Hills Drive, is that?
On the back side of it,
The
right?
back side of those
So
homes
just all
on
the homes that are on it are included in that one, so it doesn't go on the road.
Backside, okay.
So the back side of those.
All the homes
properties.
on that road are in that boundary.
or in the Rocky Mountain
Rocky Mountain boundary.
boundary right now, currently.
And he still honors that boundary on that
Yes.
side.
Yep.
Is that the current boundary right
That
there?
is the current boundary right now.
Everyone north of that goes to J.R. Smith by boundary. Now they have.
Everyone north of that,
North.
Or to Rocky Mountain, sorry.
we're talking junior highs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or middle schools,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Everyone north of that should go to,
By boundary, that's where they go.
they go to
Rocky
Rocky
Mountain.
Mountain.
Everyone south to Timberdones.
And I couldn't remember, Director Campbell, looking last night, what was scenario E? I couldn't remember, and there wasn't a description on the webpage.
That's the.
That was straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, so scenario D cuts up Valley Hills, scenario E is just the straight
That's
Highway
using
40
Highway
boundary.
40.
Okay, Highway 40, 100%. Okay, thank you. I just wanted that clarification.
Can you go back to D and show the numbers? Okay, thanks.
Will these be added to the website after this meeting if you want to go back and look at them for the scenario G? And, yeah,
We can
okay.
do that.
perfect.
Yeah, whatever you guys need to do there on this information. Is there, so that was the G we're looking at, so I'll now move to H. So on this one, we decided to move that boundary down based on some of the, that area and trying to fix that. That's kind of the numbers, and I do have a close-up of this one also, so we can see exactly where that's at.
So this is Highway 40 and then cuts up Coyote?
This one cuts up around that,
Around Coyote.
around that development or that neighborhood around Coyote. And I can focus in on that here in just a second when you guys are ready to switch to that.
So, I'm curious, why is it that the middle schools are really close on free and reduced, and the high schools have almost a 10-point swing in percentages?
Yeah, so other than looking at the GIS when we put it in there, what you do see is more disparities in the high school, my guess would be, is because a lot less kids fill out that form. And so you're gonna see greater swings based on different areas, different neighborhoods, those type of things, would be my best guess. But without
I mean, it
knowing-
looks like it's about 6% less
Yeah.
than at the middle school, and I get that the high school has another grade. It's just odd to me that the number is, because most of the other numbers seem to be, what is DIV again?
That's diversity, so we're looking
Oh,
at
diversity,
minority
yep.
versus white.
I mean, because at the high school, at the middle school levels, the numbers actually are, I mean, they're okay. But then at the high school level, again, gender, ELL, things like that, they're pretty equal until you get to free and reduced. It's just
For the high school one.
for the high school one, yeah. And Did MGT, did they say what number they were using? Like, what is the number they're using for those new areas?
So, yeah,
For,
I'm sure.
like, these areas, this is where all this building is going on, is right here, right?
Yeah.
All this new housing, like, what are they saying?
How many kids
Whatever,
in that
yeah.
area? The yield
Each
factor.
house, you know, for 100 homes, it's expected that we're gonna have 100 kids or
The yield factor.
2 kids.
Oh, the yield
or-
factor for
yeah.
that, yes, thank you. Yeah, we can look at those specific neighborhoods and identify that.
Okay.
And again, part of it is,
It's small.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's small, really small at this point,
Yeah.
just because we just don't have that many kids coming
Which-
from it.
Yeah, so, and that's the part for me where, when I look at this and I see the 2030 numbers, that's, because they're so development, you know, there's just lots of development here, there's not so much, I mean, there's not a lot of development here, there's not, I mean, obviously this area, there's not a lot. I know Wallsburg is really gonna, they wanna develop and they wanna grow really bad. Probably not, probably not.
Sawmill is a growth.
Yeah, Sawmill, but Sawmill is on this side,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So,
We have all the ones up Center Creek, Kimball Ranch, like all of it. There's
We
a lot
can
of
pull
east
up that,
and everybody here wants to choice to here. All of Brianne's friends.
Oh, well, no, and I think we'll get to the survey, but that's my concern is you have that
This is
gap.
Sawmill, Brad.
Finish.
No.
Oh, no, that's Sawmill.
Yeah, Sawmill right
I
here.
want to hear what
So
Brian's.
my concern, like looking, so my concern with that gap with the free and reduced lunch with this scenario, and there's other scenarios that have it as well, not as big of a gap as that. But, and I think we'll go over the survey, right? But my understanding is a lot of people are saying on the recent survey, I'm in a school choice no matter what. So you've got like 25 families from Midway saying, I'm in a school choice to Wasatch no matter what. And my concern is a lot of people who school choice, they're not necessarily relying on the bus for transport, right? They can transport themselves. And I'm worried that if you have all of these families, 25 from Midway, I think there was like 100 from my neighborhood, that say, we're going to Wasatch no matter what, you're gonna totally have an imbalance, because I think you're gonna see a greater disparity between free and reduced lunch, ELL diversity, once school choice plays a factor.
so depending on who is school choicing, and that's where it's tough when you look at those, all the areas in the gray. Yes, some of them can be tied possibly to neighborhoods, but other than that, it's hard, it would be hard for us to predict on the gray side what's gonna happen with choicing based on that, because we don't say, if you live here, you're gonna be a minority student. We don't say, if you're gonna live here, you're gonna be an ELL student, or a special ed student, or a male or female, and that's what, I totally see what you're
Right.
saying, and we can speculate on things, but when it comes to our numbers, it's the areas in gray that are, you grab what you grab, and that's what you kind of look at. It's difficult for us to be able to know or predict. No, I get what you're saying.
But we would predict that the disparity up there has more to do with kids who haven't filled out forms. I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that the Rocky Mountain, Timpanogos one would be that different, right? So,
Yeah, that's the part that just doesn't make sense to me.
so I think that when these were first put together, we were in 24, I think.
Yes, this 24.
And so she was using the, the 4th and 5th grade ones were going to be up into the middle school.
Yep.
The 7th and 8th were not, and the 7th and 8th grade, we start losing them in middle school. And so
Yep.
I think that's kind of what's happening there. I would think that it's going to be much more similar to what you're seeing from the middle schools there.
And that is the takeaway from the district WPN meeting we just went to. We went over, we took questions about boundaries, and a lot of the parents expressed, and it was just a shift in perspective for me. Yes, we're concerned about the high schools, we're more concerned about middle school when kids can't transport themselves. So as you're looking at this, don't overlook the middle school numbers.
I think we've heard that a bit, so I agree.
Okay. So would it help to again go to that zoom in just so we
Yeah.
can see exactly where they're to that?
Can I ask one other question? Is 26 the current year? Because sometimes it shows as 25, 26, you do 26, or is that saying anticipated enrollment fall of 26?
That was of the opening, right?
Of the opening.
Of the opening, yeah, fall of
Thank you,
26.
that's great clarification.
So all those are fall numbers, yeah.
Yes.
not the
Because
class.
we're looking at the opening of the school. Okay.
So that's straight up Coyote, right? Oh, Coyote,
No,
and
it
I see
actually,
where that's going.
we
yeah.
take the neighborhood around Coyote and then, and try to split those two other neighborhoods that are coming up through.
So this is, like right there, that's like the new Taggy's building, that your nose throat, is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's down,
It's a little farther
down
down.
south of Coyote. I think it's right
Yeah.
there.
I mean,
Because Coyote Parkway is the,
Oh,
that's,
yeah, yeah.
that's the Coyote Lane used to be.
So this is where all those, row, I don't know what they call them, townhouses, row houses, whatever
Yeah,
you call them.
right.
That's where all these are?
Right, and that neighborhood's pretty well built out. The ones on north of that, they're just starting to be
Yeah.
homes in there.
Yeah.
So this gives more, it just takes the boundary up more north.
Yeah.
From where it currently is at, yes. But
That's
not
how
all
it
the
goes
way
in
to,
code.
And it keeps neighborhoods intact.
as
Right.
best we can
As best
guess
as you
based
can,
on.
yeah.
But there's more and more neighborhoods going up around there,
Yeah.
right? That's the division, that's,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
going.
So really quick, because this affects my district, can you show me the numbers again for H and then go back to E, or D, is it D?
H, G, and D are all different boundaries. within your
H and D, if you're gonna compare H and D.
H and D, okay, so,
And G. G's another boundary in his.
So that keeps that keeps this whole section here, that little square, keeps that section intact.
And in this case, moves it down to.
It moves it to Wasatch.
Timpanogos
This
and
is,
Wasatch.
yeah, this is the area right now that their boundary to go to Rocky Mountain, correct?
Mhm.
Correct.
Which we heard in that community meeting is
Yeah.
don't split our neighborhood. Some neighborhoods. say
H
school,
doesn't split it so much.
Right, it moves that dividing.
It does
line in the
split,
neighborhood.
I mean, if we want to, I mean, it does split wards, but those are going to change anyway, so. But it does split a neighborhood. Well, it keeps the neighborhood more intact.
And that's.
So now go show me the,
So some things to look on there, just kind of look at where we start, 1346, 1276. Projection is 1204, 1353.
pretty good.
So, yeah.
I mean,
not-
admittedly,
not
this
bad.
one seems the most balanced throughout the entire 4 or 5 year. It just seems more balanced, with the exception of the free and
Free and
reduced
reduced.
at the high school, but at the
Middle school.
At the middle school, it seems okay,
Yeah,
other than male-female mix.
yeah.
More balanced than what,
Sure.
are you saying, Brad?
D.
More
Than
balanced
T.
than T.
Can you-
Yeah, G, they start to
Pull-
separate
pull-
out,
pull
and
D back
Wasatch
up, just
becomes higher.
numbers.
D starts bigger at
Yeah.
Deer Creek. They get really similar in 2030. Your free and reduced differential there
Stays about the
is,
same.
it's a little bit bigger at your middle schools
Yep.
than in the other scenario. You're actually better at the high school a little bit on this one, but a little bit more off on,
Yeah.
I don't know if you're just talking in percentage points there. I don't know if it's significant, but it's something to be aware of. It's not like you're gapping way out to a low income and a non-low income school, but there's percentage differences there.
So what percentage would you say is the tipping point that we see, because we've heard, we don't want an imbalance, so where is a
I don't
percentage
know.
we don't want to pass?
Eric does a lot in this realm, and I've dealt a lot in this realm in the past, but I think you're starting to get maybe a little bit difference if you jump to like 10% difference or something like that. I don't think when you're in that area, like you can spread it out across the whole school, and let's say any of the scenarios you're seeing, you're probably dealing with like one extra low-income kid per classroom, something like that. So
When about a 1,300 split, even split in high school, 1% is 13 kids.
yeah.
So I was just asking, what percentage are we not wanting to go over to get that imbalance of?
Well, for me, I just think, and Steph can probably speak this too, so feel free, Steph, to jump in, since she's over Title I now, but in the past, when our schools have been named Title I schools, and just going back to how they do that, any school that is above the district's average free and reduced lunch can technically be chosen to be a Title I school.
What is our average?
So our average is in that, is, as a district, and Steph, you probably have the latest numbers, but in the past, it's been around that 30, low 30s area. At its height, Heber Valley was at 50%. I don't think it's there now. I think it's, or it might be approaching it there. So it's still at its height. In most districts that we partner with, none of our schools would be chosen as a Title I school. And when you start looking at percentages around 30%, talking about the numbers, like, does that, I mean, certainly providing for these kids and making sure we have the resources for him is a concern. Other than that, what are the other concerns that might be out there? Are we concerned that will change the dynamic, the culture, the look of the school? Those are things with our numbers. I'm just throwing it out there as a perspective. I don't know that our overall numbers, that this is as big of maybe an issue for our schools than it would be, say, in a Salt Lake district or a Granite district, where you're over 50, 60, 70%, and looking at those things. Having said that, I think now would be a good time in this conversation to look at, I think our numbers are more accurate at the elementary level. So just taking our elementary students and looking at scenarios D, G, and H, using the elementary as a proxy for that. This is what those scenarios look like. And we didn't do it for the other ones too, because these were the more extreme ones.
So if they stay at their boundaries, this will kind of be the case for 5-6 years from now, right? Is that what you're saying?
But if we're leaning towards another scenario, could we get him for the other scenarios? I'd like to see him for all scenarios.
We could.
So obviously, the best you're gonna get is, in this case, 34.5 to 34.5. Right, so you're 3.5% off.
Right.
40-ish kids different is what you're
I
talking
think you
about.
gotta be a little bit, so as long as Deer Creek's always gonna be a little bit higher because Heber Valley exists within the Deer Creek boundary, it's gonna be hard to, when you're talking percentage, you can go for like a 34-34 split, like, probably not realistic, you'd have to carve out little neighborhoods and houses.
And it changes yearly.
Yeah, and you're right, and like for instance, we heard the other night when we were up at Todd Hollow, that a lot of those families are moving down over to the Daniels Canyon area right now. So it's hard to chase that as a permanent solution because you don't know. I mean, we try to work with and know what developers are putting in, but there's developers, and it's a big push to put in affordable housing in places. So that, it's hard to chase that because one big development in the next 5 years of affordable housing could shift that a bit, so.
But Eric, and staff and whoever else, would it be safe to say, would it be accurate to say, this level of discrepancy isn't that concerning for us academically?
Yeah, I would say that you're not going to notice much, a greater burden on one school than another when we're talking a swing of the students that we're talking about.
You said 30%-ish is like Title I for us.
It has been the low 30s and stuff.
They can qualify for Title
Right
I.
now, based on the it's one school at 43, 42, and it's
So what is our district average?
the district, I don't know, off the top of my
Sorry.
head, but it would be what?
They don't have that.
Can you say those percentages again? Sorry.
43, 42, and then if you throw in Daniels Canyon, about 33. So they're closer now, and they have fluctuated over the last 3 years.
You're talking J.R. Smith
And
and
J.R. Smith, Heber Valley.
And Daniels Canyon.
Daniels Canyon is what, we use Heber Valley and J.R. Smith over to designated Title I schools. But those numbers have fluctuated over the last 3 years.
the way Title I money works is Daniels Canyon more than likely is above our average. So if we wanted to, we could designate them a Title I school too. What you're asked to do with that money is make sure you're dispersing it out in a way that can make a difference. And so we could just do Heber Valley if we wanted, but we feel like we can support 2 schools with that money to do some different things to support a population that might need a little bit more support. That's at the district's discretion. But it has to be based off a percentage. We couldn't jump from, we can make the discretion to say we're gonna have Heber Valley and Daniels Canyon and skip J.R. Smith because it's based off percentage. You can't have somebody with a higher percentage not getting, you can't make that determination. This is like a little bit, I've told a couple people this. So I was in Alpine, and Alpine's not a low-income community. I mean, it's all the stuff north of Warren. They've got some lower-income areas. But in Alpine, when I was there, I was over the federal programs. Our cut line is nobody under 60% got Title I funds. Because there were more schools, and we had I think 13 of those schools that had 60% above. So kind of, this is where I don't get too concerned about that, like Heber Valley even wouldn't even be close to Title I designation. There'd probably be 10 other schools in between them. But here, we're grateful we get to give Heber Valley the additional resources. They've made great use of those resources. Their test scores look great. I think they're being used wisely, but.
Steph, do you have the numbers for Midway and Old Mill as well, just so I have a reference? Sorry.
Keep talking.
Thank you.
And that's current year numbers?
I was looking at the most updated total numbers of our students, yes.
For this year? Okay.
Other questions on this piece of thing? Any other things you want to look at?
I'm just curious about the surveys whenever we're.
Okay, first, let's look at, oh, you just did show that. Okay, now we'll do the survey data. We asked for 2 surveys to be done. Oh, Corey, you have
Sorry.
Yep.
I just want to make a comment.
Yes.
So, I want you to go back to D and H again, just show me the numbers again. So it looks like, that looks fairly balanced going across. That looks like a good scenario. However, that doesn't take school choice. And what our surveys are going to tell us. Okay.
Not at all.
So go to H. So H starts a little higher at Deer Creek, but we know people are going to school choice to Wasatch. That's what we're going to learn here in just a second. Is that
And
correct?
it's lower at Deer Creek than D.
D is a higher.
D, there's more kids that are boundary
Deer
to
Creek.
Deer Creek. So, yeah. There's, go to
Right,
D.
right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Because in that little,
Yeah, because you're
that's where
losing that chunk.
there's a
Yeah,
few-
yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for your work, Eric.
Brett, you want to come up?
Putting you to work.
So we asked for 2 surveys as well to just kind of, and what we asked, what you guys asked for was a beat on what families were thinking on what their preferred high school was. And also, if they didn't get their preferred high school, would they school choice? Because that's been kind of a pillar of this for us, is we want to let people choose the school that they want to be connected to, the teachers, the coaches, the students' friends. Choice has been a big deal for us, so getting a beat on what people are thinking of, even if their boundary didn't match up, would they be willing to school choice outside of their boundary to be there? We did we did both of those. We did a parent one who we got, you'll see the response. It wasn't a massive response, but pretty good.
772.
Yeah, and then,
Sorry,
How many are?
772.
How many are in the district?
I don't know how many said it.
8,000 kids.
I don't know how many said it. Kirsten.
So that's 10% responded.
and then we also have a student one that we completed where we were able to get close to 1,100. It was just freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. Those will be existing in our high school next year. And just get it straight from the kids. What are you thinking? And so you'll kind of see kind of their preference and also if they're willing to go to school choice on that. So,
Which I appreciate you guys following through because we were asked that in the community meeting. So
Yeah.
thank you for making sure that happened.
yep. So Brett's going to show the parent one first and kind of how we look at that. And so we can look, what we did is we had them bring it in underneath their their elementary boundary. So we knew if are they coming from our J.R. Smith boundary, even though they might be high school kids, are you in our J.R. Smith boundary? Are you in our Daniels Canyon boundary? So you're gonna see this if you go up. This one here is Daniels Canyon Elementary. So this is anyone from the Daniels Canyon Elementary boundary that filled it out. How many students took that one? Or how many
That's
families, sorry?
150 parents.
Okay, there's 150 families. So these families, the thing we don't know, they could have multiple kids in those
Right.
homes. So it's not to the kid.
But this is the parent one you said?
This is the parent.
This is the
parent
parent.
survey, okay.
So you can see in the preference of the Daniels Canyon community.
Could you have two parents from the same household in that 150?
Technically, you probably could. I think so. You get a lot of that, but yeah. So 112 of those families said Wasatch, or 75% said Wasatch is their preferred school. Now, what we didn't get out of there is we know, for instance, from our community meetings, that whole Sawmill area, they're basically saying, we're going to Wasatch. We didn't get it by Wheeler Park. It's just the whole thing.
Right,
So we don't
yeah.
have that information, so sorry about that.
Center Creek.
You've
Office,
got
yeah.
4 families, 3%, that say we want to go to Deer Creek. You've got 10% go up to that river again. 10% that didn't respond, we are guessing those are kids that just have high school kids, so they weren't going to respond to the middle school. And then if you go to this one, you've got 18 families, 12% that say, I'll just go wherever you want me to go. I don't really have a preference. I think both are a great option. So you can see in Daniels Canyons, now if you go down and you click on Wasatch, these are the kids who said they want to go to, their preferences to go to Wasatch. Now you go down here, 73% of those, or 73 families said, and we went school choice to make it happen. The rest did not. We'll go to this one over here. These ones said they're undecided. We believe those, based off of especially a student survey that we did, those they're waiting to see. There's 3 things that drove out of those students. Well, 2 things that are driving out of those student surveys that are probably leaving them in the undecided range. Well, 3: a favorite teacher, a coach, and by far and away the most, friends. They want to see where their friends are going, and then that will move them a little bit. And we kind of predicted that would be the case in our survey.
I'm just curious, the ones that said they wanted Deer Creek, did they say if they would school choice there? I know it was only like 4, but
2 of them.
2 of them went, oh, okay.
They want to go to a new
So
school.
of the 150, 73 said that they would school choice if they're out of boundary.
Yeah,
Right.
Some of those, that's just less, that's 48%. Some of those could be already in Sawmill.
Right.
We're assuming, it's bad to assume things, but we would probably predict, I would guess, that quite a few of those are in the Sawmill area.
So yeah, what is that percentage? Thank you.
All right, let's look at J.R. Smith. This is the other one where we're considering keeping the boundary together or splitting the boundary. I'd say those are kind of 2 elementaries we're considering. So go down, Brett.
134 surveys on that one.
Okay, and you can see 86% of them prefer, 64% of them prefer Wasatch. Go up to Deer Creek. Again, we're assuming on this that one of the reasons that it's higher in the J.R. Smith boundary is because a lot of those kids are already going to Rocky Mountain up in that boundary, and they've been to school over there, and they're used to that flow pattern. So you're up to 13 families, or 10% of those.
If you click on Deer Creek, does it adjust the middle school number above?
No, I don't think so.
Well, because the
Doesn't- oh, yeah,
pie graph
that's
is
true.
changing, that's
Yeah.
why.
Middle school.
So 3 out of the 13, 3 of them are currently at
I didn't know,
TNS.
it's 6
Yeah.
in a row. And a bunch had no response.
So there's only 6 families that said,
This is the deal.
That's out of the
Deer
13.
Creek selection.
13
but for
families.
I just look at the middle school where people said, make sure you're considering middle schools. Was that the middle
Oh.
school preference? Was
Middle school, you
Yeah.
can see 57%
one or
prefer
two?
Timpanogos.
And this is still J.R. Smith, right?
Yeah. It's 57% of those who selected Wasatch High School.
No, not now. That's 50% total,
Oh,
right? Now that's.
oh, got it.
So 70% who selected Wasatch High School as a preference. Or at Timpanogos.
And
The
then Rocky,
86.
go to Rocky Mountain. So you can see those that are currently at Rocky Mountain, go back to that last one, so choose Wasatch High School. And you can see that little green one, 2 families are selecting Wasatch High, they currently go to Rocky Mountain. So if they're feeding over into Deer Creek right now, they're saying, I want to stay with my friends at Rocky Mountain.
They're going with the known, with what their
With what
current,
they're-
yeah, current feeder
And that's what we
patterns, yeah.
predicted,
Right.
this is what they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, part
They're
of,
saying Wasatch because that's what they know.
yeah, part of our challenge, I
Or
think we need to be
Rocky-
aware
or
of
Rocky, yeah.
on the short term is, like if you look at the Wheeler Park area, they're known as Timpanogos, and that's where they're going with Old Mill kids right now. So is that going to affect their feelings? Yeah, friends drive this thing. So until we shifted a middle level boundary and kids grew up in that system, there's going to be a little bit of a feeling of disconnect
Affinity, yeah.
that will possibly cause them to school choice because, that's where my friends are going, and so they won't go to their natural boundary. And I think we just have to be aware and okay with that.
And obviously then as the 7th and 8th kind of come up, then we.
But then if we can get people to go more to their middle school boundary, then they'll grow up with those kids and they'll probably be okay with going to on another flow. But
How many of the 86 J.R. Smith, or, of the families said they would school choice?
59%.
Out of 86,
80 families.
80.
all right, so 86 said they wanted Wasatch, does that mean
So
80 would
click
school
on Wasatch,
choice to
Brett.
Wasatch no matter what? Oh, 63, okay.
73% of them,
63 families, okay.
63 families out of the 86 said they get choice. Another interesting maybe, and we probably want to get to a discussion by the time Corey leaves. So there's your 2 main ones, but let's look at Old Mill. Most of them just assume they're going to Wasatch High School. Like it's really obvious. I'll spare you the suspense on that one. So there you go. We got a few that want to go over there. Okay, go to no, Midway. Just real quick. So Midway, you can see most want to go to Timpanogos,
At Midway they do, not Rocky?
or sorry, Rocky Mountain. A lot had no response, but there's your Deer Creek, so in Midway. Go to Wasatch High School, those that like to hit Wasatch. You do have 37 families from the Midway Elementary area that are saying they want to stay at Wasatch, and you have 27 of them that said they would be willing to school choice to do that.
What up, and on Heber Valley?
Go to Heber Valley and you can kind of see the same thing. So the thing that we don't know from this one is we don't know if those kids are current high schoolers, if they're seniors, juniors. That's where the kid data will help out a little bit too. So there's Heber Valley. We got 19 families that say they would prefer to stay at Wasatch, and 17 families said they'd be willing to school choice to get over there. Die-hard Wasps.
And like you said, that may simmer in a few years, but right now there is a strong affinity
Yeah.
for what they know. May I just see the middle school numbers for Daniels Canyon of preference for Rocky versus Tim? I'm sorry, I didn't look at that before.
You need to unselect, yeah.
So middle school 100 said Tim.
That little sliver.
And
There are
then
3 families that would prefer to go over. Here's a bunch that are in the no response area there. Again, we assume that they just don't have a kid. They're probably high school families or something like that, but they're just not selecting it. All right, anything else you want to look at on there? And this will be available, like you can come back, dive into that as much as you want. But you can see in general, just kind of like we expected, there are going to be, on choice, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to stay at Wasatch. Okay? So I'll hand this out now. We'll show them the student one, because the students we collected kind of in the same way. What Brett has done is he's created this for us. So I'll throw some of these over there and just take one. And this is more just, this is numbers, but I think it's helpful to us to kind of see it this way. So this is our 1,100 kids. If we want to hand out, if you guys want one, if anybody in the audience wants one.
I can do one.
I just need to keep one. Okay, Brett, you can help us understand this too, but I'll try to explain it. So this is our current 9th grade, current 10th grade, current 11th grade. So this will be next year's 10th, 11th, and 12th graders.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, so the total number that we're seeing here is on the back. So let's start off there. So of all the families, or the students, this is to the student. The students, this is how they selected. 138 to Deer Creek, 715 prefer Wasatch, 214 are not sure. They're waiting to see what happens. You've got 212
I don't.
down at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
212 of the families that, of the 212 of the kids who prefer Wasatch, of those 715 said that the kids are willing to school choice. And you have 325 that said they are not willing to school choice. That they'll go where they are supposed to go. And you have 178 that are not sure. So this is about 60% of our kids in those classes. So assuming this is good sample size, you could take that out and you could then predict out for, you know, the 1,900 or so kids that sit in those 3 grades at the high school right now. So I think this may be our most accurate one. This is coming from the kids. Kids have opinions. And this
They also can change based on their.
I was gonna-
Friends,
oh,
yes.
But they don't know where their teachers are gonna be, or their coaches are gonna be, or any of that yet.
That's the unsure group.
Just
Right.
current
There's a-
knowledge.
Or if their parents are willing to drive them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's 214 kids are unsure where they want to go, and that's why. So if you delve down in the data on them, I don't know where my friends are because I don't know the boundaries, I don't know where my coach is, and I don't know where my favorite 2 teachers are.
And that's what
That's the feedback they gave us they're waiting on.
That's what this chart here is trying to indicate just a little bit. These are all the factors that influence their choice. And notice your big gains are you know, keeping my friends.
Yeah.
Location is one.
Location's one, and then athletic teams, coaches, teachers is your other high. Those are your 3 biggest influencers on their choice.
I talked to a kid, he's in 8th grade now. I said, where are you gonna go to high school next year? And he's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Wasatch. And he's in my area, he's on the border, and I'm like, well, how come? He said, well, because the baseball coach. I'm like, well, what if the baseball coach goes to Daniels Canyon? Deer Creek, excuse me. And he's like, well, then I'll have to see where my friends go.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, that is totally where they are. I mean, and they're just kind of sitting there waiting on us a little bit, and then they'll start making their choices. And so that'll be, once we get the boundary set, that's when we're really going to start getting feedback of where people choice to and how big each school is going to be in that first year. Until we set the boundary, we're going to be speculating a lot on that because there are a whole group of kids that are sitting right where that kid is. Okay, I got to see where my coach goes. I got to see all those things are sitting in the hopper right now. And if all things are even, they're going with their friends. Like that's the way it's going to be. So the next one kind of gives you kind of a walk up this side here. So this is 9th grade. So this will give us a little bit more. Let's go with 11th grade first. So this is our 12th graders. told Ryan Bishop after getting these survey results, we gotta work on attendance for our upper grade kids, because we gave them a couple days to get this data out of their English classes. We got 264 kids out of 700, so anyway, our ratio's not high there. But this is kind of what they're saying. We got 21. This is where you would expect the most kids want to stay at Wasatch. Big time, because they've gone there, they've invested 3 years. I want to graduate from there. So they've got 21 kids that prefer Deer Creek, 186 that prefer Wasatch, 57 are in that wait mode at this point. You've got 51, this is a big thing, and I just have to assume it's accurate. It surprised me just a little bit. Of those 186 kids that prefer Wasatch, only 51 of them said they would actually kick in the school choice option to make it happen. So they prefer Wasatch, but only 51. And I think what you need to do is maybe go up into our Daniels Canyon and our J.R. Smith boundary. You can see of those that from that boundary that said that they would either choice or not. Now some are unsure, but 11 in Daniels Canyon said that they would choice, 18 said they would not. But they would just go where they were assigned. You have in the J.R. Smith boundary, you have 7 that said they would school choice and 14 said they would not. Okay, so those are all telling things. It kind of gives you an idea of where our next year's senior class is.
Kind of roughly like.
About 33%, a third in Boa said that they would school choice. And I thought that would be a little bit higher, to be honest with you. I thought more would say, you know what, I'm Wasatch through and through, and I'm going there. And maybe when push comes to shove, they will. I don't know the answer to that. Well, none of us will until we set the boundary. 10th grade, here we got 340 of those kids respond. 228 of them prefer Wasatch, 46 prefer Deer Creek. 68 of them are willing to go school choice, 103. So that's down from, you see more of your next year's junior class prefer Deer Creek, and then it goes up, you're up to 71 on the next go around. But one of the things is 120 of those kids said that they will not school choice as well once you get to the 9th grade. So, and again, that was 463 kids, which is about 66%. It's about 2/3 of our kids we got the surveys from, so you just up those numbers by another third, and hopefully you'd be in a fairly predicted. And that's, we'll play those out a little bit. We just got the survey just closed yesterday. This is where we were able to get to it. You can see people are going to choice to Wasatch. No matter what, like even in that D option, Corey, if we start off 300 kids bigger in the boundary, they're going to choice to Wasatch, and Wasatch is probably going to end up being a bit bigger than Deer Creek to start off with, which again you would predict in a situation like this, like this. Anyway, that's all the data that we were asked to bring. The best way we could get it, we could try to do some other things, but what questions do you have?
Didn't we do a ranked choice on your, I do want to see the priorities, the result of the priorities. We asked in the survey, we asked them to rank choice the priorities they expressed in the spring. I did want to see that.
Yeah, good. Glad you remembered that. That was in the last survey.
Is this for the parents or the kids?
Yeah, this is the parent survey. Again, it's based on school.
And
So those are your priorities, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And
demographics.
So number 1, sorry, help me understand, Brett, sorry.
Well,
okay, so
your students, your parents put demographics and enrollment at 3.
That's the third, it's third on the list.
In their priority list.
Okay.
25 of them put it at 1, 32 put it at 2, and then.
So meaning demographics and enrollment was most of the parents' first priority.
Is one high, is one their first choice?
There's a clear number 1?
Yeah, so that would have been ranked number 1, 25 families put it at 1.
Demographics.
But of the majority that took the survey.
48 put that higher.
Demographics.
More important to them.
Okay.
So equity access to programs, 24 4, 38, 51.
So, and demographics enrollment, we're talking enrollment balance and all those categories we just looked at with diversity, free and reduced lunch. That's the number one priority is what I'm hearing, okay?
So that's feeder patterns. Go down and let us see. So there's your geography is kind of the biggest one that's getting number one. It also has.
So proximity.
Geography and transportation, that proximity one is the biggest. That's the
biggest.
number one. Probably feeder patterns is number two.
Okay.
That have it one.
So what are the, so like you're saying 57,
You said it's number one.
That's their number
That's their
one
biggest
priority.
priority.
oh, these are the, okay, broken,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is by category, those 4 that we put out there. This was their most important.
Thank you, okay, thank you.
Okay? I wasn't clear with that earlier.
And now we know why ranked choice voting isn't here anymore. Nobody understands it.
Exactly. Like why,
The most families are saying transportation
Yeah.
is the most important. The
proximity.
second most would probably say that feeder patterns and school continuity is meaningful. The other two would be a little less.
and then feeder pattern.
Yeah.
So yeah, like an overall number, say that one more time. The first, if you were looking at it
Okay.
overall, first
That
would
makes
be
Geography.
Geography,
And then what would you say?
Just think of that a little bit as proximity.
feeder,
And then
and then second is feeder.
patterns.
and then third is
Programs. Third is
demographics at
programs.
25.
Well, it's pretty dang close.
It's within one
Yeah,
vote, so
that's-
they're saying those are bad.
Those are
Okay,
fine.
and
Okay.
equity and
Programs
demographics
and
are equal.
demographics.
This is pretty equal.
Programs,
And then geography, proximity.
enrollment.
I think,
That's for yours, that's for Daniels Canyon, right?
Yeah, that's for my school, so. So that changes as we,
Go to JR, go down.
that was just one school. That was, which one did you
this
say?
one is built on
Daniels
school
Canyon.
choice.
Enrollment.
So you can say with JR, it is hands down the geography thing. That's the big one.
JR is geography
Yeah,
first.
it's not even
Those
close.
are about tied.
About tight, okay.
Okay, so JR. So when you say enrollment, like which school has more kids, less kids?
And even enrollment, yeah.
Balancing,
Balancing
and
enrollment.
your balance, like free and reduced lunch, diversity.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
All the
demographics.
numbers, yeah.
Yeah, I got the demographics.
So this is midway, theirs is equitable access to programs and services, has the most number ones.
They're all about tied.
I'm not tied after that.
Old Mills, geography,
Old Mill was geography, you
yeah,
said?
significantly. Geography seems to be leading the way on
Almost Daniels
pretty much
Canyon.
everyone
Daniels
except
Canyon was
midway
geography,
and
then feeders.
Heber Valley.
So we got JR.
I think that's pretty telling though, because those are the two that know they're going to the new school. I need to, I kind of know where I'm going. I need
That's right.
I need programs and offerings there.
There's something that makes sense to me on that.
So that would make sense.
And then for Old Mill, was the rest pretty much tied, or was there a big disparity, or the rest were pretty much tied? And then 2, 4, and then, sorry, we're on Old Mill, okay.
That's what
This is,
Heber Valley goes back to
Valley, thank you.
programs.
And what about Midway?
Heber Valley's
Programs.
equity, which is interesting that your two schools you know pretty much are going to the new high school are like, hey, make it equal, make it fair. That's an
Give us
interesting,
programs.
whereas the other ones, yeah, it's geography,
Yeah.
yeah. Geography and proximity.
Anything else you want to look at?
Let's-
if they were not.
Corey's got to leave here, so let's
10 minutes.
have some dialogue.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. It's-
All right, you want to
yeah,
lead the dialogue
exactly.
portion of it, Kim, or?
Which is cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense, yeah.
let's just talk. Corey, do you want to start with any thoughts? Do you want to start us off with?
Sure.
Oh, you're the one that has to go.
I know. So, well, I mean, if you're asking me my choice.
Start with anything.
Okay, when I look at the options that have been most looked at here today, which are D, G, and H or something, I like the boundary of H the best for my area because I think it disrupts neighborhoods the least. So I like that the best, but I don't think it works kid-wise. I think it gets too skewed, and I think Deer Creek's going to be too small versus D,
With the school choice.
because of the school choice. And so, I know there's been some discussion about, do we have a 4A, 3A, and if we can live with that, then that's probably the option you're headed if we go with H. D probably makes the most sense kid-wise, or we think keeping the schools somewhat the same, but it does divide neighborhoods more.
I think what Corey says, that's something to throw out there, and it doesn't need to be a big discussion today because we're not going to know until kids actually make a choice, that 4A, 3A thing. But with an even split, like we probably have 2 small 4A schools. Once it starts getting skewed, you're probably going 4A, 3A. With school choice, yeah.
So
What do you
that's
think,
my
Jake?
comments.
Very similar. And I know it's not the topic, but it's by default, it is I think the most important is, going back to our earlier discussion, are we aligning with choice? Letting that be number one priority. And then how do we balance that out after that choice is made is going to have to be the realistic conversation. And I think the neighborhoods, like Corey said, is one that makes the most sense. To me, it has the most lasting impact.
Can I just throw out a question on choice? Because we all did get an email about capping, about not allowing kids to choice to keep that in balance. So just throwing out that community perspective. Thoughts on that? Just to voice that email and perspective we've gotten.
Like, would we be willing to cap it?
Right, if we saw too
If there's
much of
a
an
great
imbalance.
imbalance, would we be
Yeah.
willing to cap it? We've been saying we're gonna give kids, families their choice, but is capping, if there is such a great imbalance, are we willing to go there? Right? Is that what you're?
Yeah. And some perspectives have said, well, you just cap from the start to keep a balance. So I'm
To
just
set
throwing
the
it out,
boundary.
yeah. I'll tell you, my personal feeling is I want kids to have choice. I want them to go where they feel connected. But I did want to voice that just to throw it out where we've heard it.
Just something to think about. We don't have to have an answer right now, but Brad, thoughts?
I think the imbalance is going to be there with school choice. The imbalance will be there for the first 2 years. And I think we'll have to see after that. If school choice is number one and having the ability to choice, I do think that it will start to balance out after that. From my perspective, I've shared this with others, but from my perspective, I happen to be in a high school that split when I was in high school. We had a huge imbalance, our graduating class, and it balanced out. And now the schools are similar in size and
All is well.
yeah, yep, and they have good sports programs and other programs. I do think there may be questions even at 2 4A schools. There are going to be program questions that doesn't make sense to have 2 different. I don't think that matters. I think the reality is we just have some programs that at the end of the day, they're just really small programs. And if you have 5 kids in a program right now at one high school, how do you support that with 2 high schools? You either have to put it at one or the other, or say we don't support it anymore. That is unfortunate, but that's one of the choices that was made when having smaller schools was made. You actually lose access to programs because you can't support all of the programs. You do give more access to the more popular programs, but the programs that have less kids in them just don't get that. They just don't have as many options and possibilities when you have 2 smaller schools. It's just not you just can't support that as easily.
Or you don't necessarily dissolve the program, but you give the parents the choice to go to the school with that program, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's typically that, and I think Brad brings up a great point there. From what I've heard, and from what I think I've heard from you guys, there's some priorities to this. And I think one has been stated choice. We want, but really it's about connection.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at our goals, like, we want kids to be connected to the coach they want to be connected to. We want them to be connected to the teacher that they want to be connected to. And we want to be connected to the friends they want to be connected to. And we are not going to mess around with a kid's life in this time of life. We're not going to mess with that. That's too important to them. We're not going to force them into a situation where they feel they won't have that. So that's one thing that's been driving the decisions. I think another one is what Brad just brought up, is making sure we have that equal program that both Heber Valley and Midway are concerned about, that kids have access to a football program, but also an AP calculus class. We've stated up front, like JROTC will be in one school. It's by, you apply for that and it cannot leave Wasatch. That'll be in one school. There's some other things, like we might have to be creative. Like, I think if you look at the AP French program right now at the high school, I think you have 5 kids in it. We carry some of those programs for the benefit of 5 kids. It doesn't make sense economically, but it makes sense for those kids. So then you're going to have to do some things creative, like putting AP French 4th period, so that the kids from wherever you put the program can travel their 4th period just like they do for CAPS and hit the class that's of value to them, even though it's not at their school. But we're going to have to work, I think, to Brad's point, I think we're going to have to work to make sure that that remains a priority and kids get access based off of where teachers are going to flow. Like, I don't know where the AP French teacher might end up, our current one, but we're probably not going to offer an AP French class of 1 and 4. If that's what we have. So then we're going to have to be creative with our schedule to make sure kids can access those things the best way they possibly can.
Those culminating experiences for kids in programs, like
CAPS.
Stuff CAPS, well, I mean, we've always carried them at much lower ratios so they can finish up off. So yeah, I think we would work under the, man, we're going to offer this if it's all possible, both, or there might be a time where it's at 1 until these other kids kind of grow up into it. After a few years, maybe it isn't both. So
AP French is an extreme example.
Right.
I think that's the lowest one that I can see right now. I think most of them, if we had to carry 5 at once like we currently are, we would probably make that choice.
Okay.
Because we're prioritizing that.
I want Brianne to share her thoughts, but you're leaving in 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go first? You want Corey to have some last words?
I don't need,
You're good?
I'm
Okay.
good.
You said everything you want to say, Corey?
Yeah,
Okay, my thoughts.
I'm short-winded.
I agree with what Superintendent said. I think program access is important for all kids. I've heard that concern from my community. My community, meaning like the people that elected me have been passionate about choice as well. I still think we need to educate the community about 2 great schools, not just at the high school level, but at the middle school level. Because I've heard a lot of misconceptions about Rocky Mountain Middle School, and I think in clearing those up, it's decreased some of the emotion and some of the concerns. And just explaining, like, hey, traffic studies have been done, and they will support traffic flow to the new school, and educating about safe walking routes and that safe busing will be developed. I think that will alleviate a lot of fears. I guess where I'm kind of sitting right now is the reality. So I played a lot on Google Maps last night. Like, I won't take forever, I promise. I know I get long with it, but I try to put all my thoughts on paper, and I'm not gonna do 4 pages worth to you, but
Just take your time.
last night on Google Earth, the reality is, via Google, the high schools are 2 miles apart, right? Like, my house to Wasatch is 2 miles, 6 minutes. My house to Tim is 8 minutes, 2.8 miles. My house to Rocky is 2.4 miles, 4 minutes. And to Deer Creek, it was 3 miles, 7 minutes. So honestly, like, for my neighborhood, when you talk proximity, that's what's tricky is and I talked to a girl in J.R. Smith, and she's like, I live on Center Creek, like Center Street. I'm literally a mile from Wasatch and a mile from Deer Creek. So in looking at some of these where proximity and geography is the priority, I guess that's what's hard is those 2 hinge point communities.
They're similar.
Yeah, they're so similar and they're both pretty proximate, you know, to both schools, yeah. And I thought it was interesting, just for knowledge, like Timberlake's package shed is 14 minutes or 8.2 miles to Deer Creek, whereas it's 13 minutes and 7 miles to Wasatch. You're talking about 1 minute difference on a bus. Right, unless it's staff, but I'm like, so that concern about proximity, I mean, you're talking about 1 minute difference on a bus. So for me, proximity actually becomes a safety discussion because parents are worried about middle schoolers crossing the highway for extracurriculars. I have a lot of other thoughts, but that's it for right now. No, that's it for right now. So I'm good for there, and then we can get into more discussions because I have thoughts on each of the scenarios, but not right. We don't need to. Not right now. I want to hear the
We'll
general
peel this
thoughts.
away in
Yes,
layers.
one layer at a time. Yeah.
I know, I peeled maybe one layer back today. I just think, you know, we have to take into consideration, I do want to give the families the choice. I think that's something we've been talking about. I don't want to take that away from them. I do think that knowing that we're going to have a group of families choice over to Wasatch, I'm with Brad. It's going to, and Corey, it's going to even out. It will work its way out. We have data from other districts where it's worked its way out. So for me, I want to pick, I don't know what it is yet, but I want to pick the best choice that is best for the community as a whole down the road, not necessarily what's best today. Because we just can't take, there's so many unknowns on what's going to happen today. I don't know that it's a very thin layer that just got peeled back in the last hour, but I want to honor the proximity, the friends, and the programs. Those are the three things I keep hearing. And but I guess my biggest thing is knowing that so many families are going to choice over, and knowing that that will balance out in time what's going to be best in the coming years. That's all I got.
I'm hopeful.
I'm not very far.
That the decision on school choice will help people be maybe not completely happy, but satisfied that they get to be where they want with their friends and everything like that. So we're hopeful for that.
We're going to have growing pains no matter what. So.
Yeah, and I do think that's consistent with, like, if you go back, I've had this conversation with a couple of people, like, when schools were splitting down, when I was down in Alpine School District, and Westlake High School needed to be split off from Cedar Valley High School, it's because we had 1 billion trailers and we couldn't fit one more kid. We had people eating lunch. We had food trucks coming in to feed kids at lunchtime because we couldn't fit them in the cafeteria. There was no more room. There was a split based off of one thing. We can't put any more kids in this high school period, which that was part of the case here. I think you're at a 2,000 capacity or so seat high school that you've gone out into West Campus and bumped that up to 2,700 kids. But technically, if West Campus isn't there, we're too big, and I get that. So that is part of it. But if I remember back to the conversations at the board at that time, which I wasn't in the meat of this discussions like now, but a lot of that was being done so that kids could have more opportunities, be 2 student governments, 2 football teams, 2 plays, 2, and then the other one, and I remember these conversations, is so that the people in the school can know kids' names. It's hard to know kids' names, so that will be consistent coming up through why those schools were made to go with a choice philosophy that allowed them to continue to put their connection at the front of that, because that would probably be the major driver that I saw that split those schools in the first place. And so I think that's a fairly consistent philosophy, but it is still a matter of we're going to be a little out of balance at first, for sure. I think that's a given.
I've gone through a lot of emotions with this whole thing, from starting with years past, and I just keep having to remind myself, I keep going back to RY, and that is the connection for the students. So, you know, I've had days where I'm like, oh, okay, just good and bad days, but I just keep saying, remember the why, and that is making sure every student is connected in some opportunity. So what does that look like? Where should we go from here?
Anybody have a suggestion where to go from here? I mean, I got an idea. I mean, the reality is we're kind of at the point where we got to come up with our scenario, or maybe break it down to a couple of scenarios that are actually going to go out to the public. We're getting up on deadlines to be met with. I mean, if we're going to have a 4A and a 3A school, or a 4A and a 4A school, we got to work with the High Schools Activities Association on that by the time we hit the middle of December. Which means we have to kind of know what the kids are thinking a little bit better by the middle of December, and so we are going to jump up against those deadlines a little bit. So we are going to have to take this out of our current, out of conversation into dialogue, where we're actually trying to break it down and come up with our choices. We can do something like, I mean, we can go back through the scenarios, and maybe a good way to get this kicking, it's just an idea, we don't have to do this, is have everybody rank order their things.
And
Rank
can
order
we-
the different scenarios from what do we have down there? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We have 8 scenarios up there. Maybe a rank order and see who everyone's putting in their top 3, can break it down, so we're not talking about all of them, but just a couple.
I don't have a rank order, but I have pros and cons in my mind for each scenario, and I think that's where I'm at. I'm not to a spot I could choose yet, but I would love to hear your guys' as like, okay, because I think we all have different perspectives, we represent different communities, and I would like to hear like, this is why I like this one better, or I don't like this one. I think that will help inform some rising to the top and some being taken away.
Brad, do you have thoughts on how to move forward?
So, the one scenario I don't think we did is the H boundary on the north end and most of Daniels Canyon on the south.
Okay, pull up the H.
Clarify that, Brad, saying
So, we've heard from these people, from a lot of the people who say they want a school choice. They live in that square, and they live in Wheeler Park. If you put both of those in Wasatch, what does that look like?
So you're taking Daniels Canyon all to Wasatch, right? Or you're just
Yeah,
taking Willer's
you take
Park?
From right there. Take this section here.
Sawmill area.
Sawmill's here.
Okay.
It's already in
Wheeler
there.
Park.
Wheeler Park.
Wheeler Park. And you already have H up here. What does it do if you take that?
Because Wheeler Park, you've got to,
Well, it does in the beginning, but what does it do long term?
Well, they get discrepant in Wasatch's favor over time.
Yeah.
and my area is not just Wheeler Park, it's like all of Little Sweden. It's the Daniels Canyon boundary, elementary boundary.
Yep.
So I don't
So-
think you can just carve out one neighborhood and make that area happy.
So we have one that's similar to
What do you
this.
think that might happen, Brad? Kind of talk us through that a little bit.
Well, if that's where everyone's school choicing anyway, like if they're gonna school choice it, then we might as well understand what the numbers are. And I think we have one that's kind of similar to this, where I thought we kept J.R. Smith, we split J.R. Smith and we did Daniels Canyon. We have one like that.
You can show our A or
Did we ever do
current
that?
current one.
I know.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah, so with this one, okay, so this one does get split more over time. So if we were to move that up there, it would probably go even more in that favor. So over time, it becomes even worse.
That's our current boundary.
Yeah.
And then with choice two, the initial one is,
Yeah, I mean, the hard part for me right now, when I look at Midway, our feeder from Midway is shrinking. It's just a thing. We're shrinking, and if you look at just enrollment as a whole, because of what the median home price is now, we aren't having the projected growth that we anticipated at the time this decision was made. Because of that, other decisions now have to be made that are different. to try and keep the schools in balance. If we were seeing the growth in the way that we were anticipating back then I would say it would be more clear cut, because the numbers would just be, you know, we just wouldn't see the growth. We would see more growth than what we're seeing today. So, but we don't have that, and that's creating a challenge.
So I'll start. Go to D, please. Right now I'm sitting on D and our new scenario G? H?
G was the one went up to kind of 32, and then H was the one that did.
H.
Around Coyote.
H is the one I think that Corey said made the most sense to him
Really?
in the neighborhood.
I
Like
think
he knows that neighborhood better, and he felt like that kept neighborhoods intact.
I
He
think
was
I,
worried about choicing, right? With this one, he liked this one best.
It's a little bit bigger, but it's not significantly bigger. But if you go with what Kim's saying, like, let's just make the best choice over time. Like,
so go to D, please. So, yeah, I'm sitting on D and H right now. Doesn't mean I can't change. It's just where I am. And my thinking is, I still think 40 is a natural boundary. I know Daniels Canyon won't be happy with me right now, but especially down in there.
Good thing they don't like you.
I know. Well, and
Sorry,
I'm not
Brianne.
against them.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Brianne.
Everybody, we all share our perspectives, and then we come to the best
And I
conclusion.
said, it doesn't mean I can't change, but I've always thought that 40 was a good boundary line. And where people, my thinking is where families are going to choice over anyway, I say go with the higher Deer Creek number, and that will initially give us somewhat of a balance. And then over time, I think as families get to know both schools better, it will even out. And the work has yet to be done as far as evening out because of where teachers are going and where friends are going and where coaches are going and programs.
and promoting the school.
And promoting
Sean
the school.
Kelly's got a great
Yeah.
video.
So those are all, I heard about that. Sean Kelly has video skills. So there's just all that can be, how do you say, it, manipulated, I guess, to even it out. So I'm just leaning towards going with the numbers that gives Deer Creek a higher number because we have the choicing going on anyway. And then down the road, so thinking down the road, it evens out.
Should
I don't know,
can
D
share
just makes the
Can I-
most.
Can I share a perspective on that a little bit, Kim, just like looking at D? Where I would get concerned, and I don't even know if the concern's the right word, but I still believe that friendships are driving a lot of this stuff, even more so than probably coaches and stuff like that. That once you get the middle school boundary set, if people actually do start attending more here, that it will, 2030 would be kind of like 2-3. If we get up into 2030 and it's still not evening out, I'd probably be like, something's not working out the way it should.
We can readjust the boundaries if we need to.
Yeah.
Can I share some thoughts just based on some of the things you said with that? So my preference is B, and then let me tell you why. And then B, scenario B, if we can flip to B, and I'll tell you why. One, my area has spoken strongly. I think you saw that on the survey. That's what they would like. But
And in the parent.
right, and in the parent meeting. But I've also tried to balance of, okay, I'm elected by this area, but I want to do what's best for the whole, all stakeholders, teachers, kids, everybody. And this is why I think scenario B is best for everybody. Number one, I think it has the natural boundary, like how you were talking about with Highway 40 on D. The natural boundary, the natural geographical boundary for scenario B takes Highway 189, so you're not splitting a neighborhood. It's already a boundary that's there, it's expected. Then it takes 40, so you come to 189, you hit the one stop, then you head north on 40, still a natural geographical boundary, and then you go up Center Street, which is the current J.R. Smith boundary. So you have a 89 to Highway 40 up Center, so you've got a natural geographical boundary. Two of those, a lot of those boundaries are already established boundaries for the elementary schools. So I like that. I like the balanced numbers. I think, you know, the subcategories are balanced. I also like that it starts Wasatch High School less than Deer Creek, which I think will balance out your school choice, because Deer Creek's higher. I also, in talking, because I told you, proximity to me, I'm like, everybody's proximate in JR and Daniels. But I think, like I said, it comes to safety then, when you're looking at proximity. For me, I feel like it's safer for JR to go to Deer Creek than it is for Daniels, and here's why. Daniels Canyon has to cross 2 highways to get, either they're going down Highway 40 and then up Midway Lane, which is like what, 113, is that, and Lake State Road 113, something like that. Or they're crossing 189 and then they're crossing Midway Lane. And if you think about those directions, a lot of people in our area right now cross 189, which there's a stoplight, but then they go down by Walmart. There's no stoplight at that intersection. Then you have the roundabout, and then you get to Midway Lane. That's one way you could go. You could take the highway, which is another way, which most people in the meetings were like, I avoid the highway as an adult, so that's not super safe. The other way that I've driven it is coming down Southfield Road. Well, if you take Southfield and you hit 189, again, no stoplight. Whereas J.R. Smith, from what I understand, they can come into the back of the high school and they're coming through a light. Isn't that correct?
By Smith's.
By Smith's. So I just, for me, tell me if I'm wrong, like I said, I want us to, but I think it's safer because then Daniels Canyon isn't having to do 2 highway crossings, no lights at intersections, and J.R. Smith can come in the back. And I know there was concern spoken about, well, what about the middle school kids crossing with extracurriculars? And I think, you know, that those ones who are in the Cove, they're already school choicing if they're worried about that. But also, it's just like Sawmill coming to Daniels right now. We provide a bus for those elementary kids so that they're safe. I think B honors the feeders. You're not splitting elementary schools. And like I said, I know when we were talking about proximity, we're like, oh, but J.R. Smith goes clear up to Timberlakes. Well, according to Google Maps, you're 1 minute difference. So I don't think and they're coming straight down center onto Midway Lane to the high school. I don't think proximity for Timberlakes is an argument when you're talking about 1 more minute on the bus. So that's my reasoning for B.
Okay. Do you have like an inset or like a zoom in for the JR area on this one or no?
It's their whole boundary.
It's their whole boundary.
And-
So all of JR goes
Yes.
to.
And just one other thought,
So
sorry.
it's not broken up.
Yeah, one other thought is I also feel like this scenario honors future growth. Because right now, you have all those homes by, like the turnoff to Midway and the turnoff to go up to Francis, right? All that just got approved for future growth, which is in the J.R. Smith boundary. Right. Those thousands of acres, yeah. And then, because we know there's growth happening in Old Mill boundaries, right? There is some growth happening in some of the Daniels Canyon, but all of the Coyote, all those, yeah, I think it helps balance future growth as well.
What are can we talk about, what do you see as, so you had listed all the pros, any cons?
The cons, I did
Yeah.
write the cons too. So the cons, I didn't know if the 5 to 8% difference in free and reduced lunch was an issue, but you guys spoke to that earlier, that you're not worried about that percentage. I put as a con, J.R. Smith said they felt like this didn't honor safety or proximity for them, but I spoke to that. I think both are proximate, and I think they have the safer route compared to Daniels Canyon. Like, does a bus for the middle school and a back entrance off 500 address that issue? The other con, I noticed it keeps Rocky Mountain Middle School enrollment higher than Temp, and Rocky is the smaller school, you know, physically. So I think, to me, the only con I saw, and please speak to me, is maybe JR didn't love this option. They wanted C, right? But they said for proximity and safety. But I'm like, if that's your reasoning, proximity kind of is a non-issue, I feel like, except maybe the Cove would school choice over. But like I said, that Lakewood Center Creek's like, I'm right in the middle of both.
Proximity would be more of an issue for middle schools. Timpanogos versus Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, this is where, the
Yes,
one
the Timpanogos.
con.
So let me
So-
look
It's
at
not,
that.
it's not.
Right, not a
So,
huge, yeah.
yeah, I would say, I think you're gonna deal with
But I like
similar
what you're saying.
arguments for that lower J.R. Smith and kind of the Wheeler Park area, I think. It's you're gonna hear very similar arguments for sure. So I would say that the cons, I'd say the pros and cons for both of those are going to be varies.
So there's where I'm at, is B.
Guys, any thoughts? We stuck our neck out there. And again, I am not, I put that out there, but I'm not stuck on that, so.
So can
I don't-
can I focus this down a little bit?
I don't
based
have a
off of what
neighborhood
I've heard?
that's,
Yeah.
I'm going to honor Corey, because Corey said H, but he was also good with D.
Yeah.
But H was kind of his leading one. I'm not necessarily hearing a leading one.
Well,
I think
we don't
he
have
said
near the
D
size of the dog in the fight as
Yeah.
these guys, that's
See, I
a
have
great
no-
point. Now it's
I don't
almost
have
like
dog in
Corey
the
needed to
fight.
be here for
I know.
his side, because
Was that
the
his
scales
choice?
tipped the other way for him.
no, I don't,
His
he
his
didn't.
was H or D.
He said
But
H
that's rather
made the
than-
most sense, but D,
But
we
really-
thought D because of the.
Yeah, so D is where he
Yeah, I want
was.
Corey's
It's
perspective.
Corey and Brianne that have a dog in the fight,
I'm
but
gonna ask
we
them.
also need to think about the whole community too,
And
right?
that doesn't mean that we just get a pass or anything, that's not what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I think one of the challenges for me is that I don't think the elementary boundaries are the same in 5 years. With where the growth is happening and where schools are being built, I mean, and I don't have a heat map, but it's gonna be here, it's gonna be here, very little here. So if that's where the growth is,
Very little out midway.
yeah, very little over here. If that's where the growth is, it just, for me, I don't think the feeder pattern, I think the feeder patterns change.
So are you saying this makes sense? to
No,
you?
I'm saying I think this ends up, I think these boundaries change. If
So
the
the
feeder
feeder patterns.
The elementary
Yeah,
boundaries.
Is
if
not-
Sawmill grows out with all those homes that are, I don't know if they're empty.
I drove by it today.
Whatever
yeah.
they are, with all those homes, this boundary is gonna end up changing. Right? Because Old Mill can't fit more people. So something has to change. And if that changes,
Don't
then
rely
JR
on-
has to change.
You're saying
and
don't rely on feeder patterns.
I don't think we rely on feeder patterns. I think we have to look at where the people are.
So with that being the case,
And
so if
where
you were to
they're-
go B, D, and H, Brad, where do you think you would be?
I would probably look at H as probably my first.
So go down to H, Eric.
Took quite a while to get there.
Wait, what was Brad's answer? Sorry.
He said he would probably go with H.
H, K, Y.
For me, it keeps it balanced, and I know people are gonna school choice in the beginning, but I think that's gonna happen regardless. I think we're gonna have a school the first year that's gonna be 18 or 1900 kids, and every year after that, it's just gonna keep going down, so long as Justin produces a really good Deer Creek school. That's right, it is. My daughter's really excited to go there, by the way. So, but I just think over time, I think it's gonna balance out over time. And I think, you know, at 2030, 2032, whatever it may be, if some of the other new developments that are there actually produce more kids, then I think we might see something different, but.
But doesn't this put all the growth pretty much, I mean, all the growth, like, there's a bunch of growth on the east side, so you're putting, I think the majority of the growth, I think you're still gonna have an imbalance with future growth.
So with B and H, if B keeps JR together, but H splits
JR
them
and
up,
Coyote.
why not go with B to keep the school together?
It splits Daniels and JR, yeah.
And if you really wanted to do it, why not go Old Mill, Daniels, and Heber Valley at Wasatch? What does that do in numbers?
Well, but then Heber Valley is right next door to Rocky Mountain, so you're sending all of them down to Tim?
But we're doing that to your own point that you mentioned, they are 2 miles apart. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Right.
So
I-
Heber Valley's right next door.
I mean, if you want to do it east and west, that's one thing. If you want to do it north and south, that's another thing. I mean, the reality is that you could take Wallsburg and you could pull some of that out of Heber Valley if you needed to. I mean, there are a lot of things you could do.
Did Walsburg go to Heber Valley or Midway?
Heber Valley.
Heber Valley. My concern with this is if we're honoring those gray area numbers in every other scenario, I don't think you can discount them here. And that 9%, that is concerning to me, that there's 9% more at Deer Creek, especially when we know we're gonna have a ton of school choice. I've heard loud and clear, we do not want a rich school, poor school, and I think this has the potential to become that.
A rich school, poor school?
Sorry, what?
A rich
Has that
school, poor
potential
school?
too, though. He has that potential.
Really, really,
Right, but
socioeconomic pattern right here is really high. This has some high, so I don't know where that,
right there, that 9% gap in free and reduced lunch, that is the largest gap you have in a subcategory, and with school choice, you're gonna see that increase. And I don't think you can say, this doesn't count here, but we're counting it on every other scenario.
I'm discounting this one, and I'm looking at that one.
That's
Un-
probably more accurate.
Understood, but I still don't think
So
you can say,
this one-
this high school one doesn't count, but we're counting all the other ones.
No, I'm not counting it on any of the other ones. I'm actually looking at this at all the other ones. This is one of the closest ones.
He's going down into middle school.
For middle
Yeah,
school, I
for
get,
middle school.
I
Because
get
of
that.
accuracy. Yeah.
I get that, but I still think we've looked at it for high school on the others, and if we're considering that factor on the others, that's a data point for me that says, hey, you could have an imbalance with your free and reduced lunch population.
Can you go to
Like
B?
Brad's saying that he's not counting that on.
I'm not
Right.
counting that on any of them.
Right, but I'm telling you, that's my concern with H.
Okay, so
Go to the middle schools on all of them.
just start at A. So if you remove this on all of them, this one's over 6%,
8%.
8%, thank you. 5%, 8% again, 4%, or 3%. So- So when you look at the middle school numbers, the higher numbers are actually the ones that you're referencing, or the higher numbers at the middle school number. The high school number, that's part of the reason why I pulled that out, is because the numbers don't make sense to me. And maybe it's just because of the current balance in there, but I think for me, it's more reliable to look at the middle school numbers.
I think the reality, I think Eric spoke to this earlier on free and reduced, your most accurate is in elementary, that's when most
Yeah.
people fill out the paperwork, it's a little less in middle school, and it's a lot less in high school.
And
So you get a little bit skewed on.
do we have the elementary for those two scenarios? Is that part of what you sent me, Steph?
We don't have.
I don't have it based on the, I don't have it on the B on the,
But-
we could get.
And H, could you pull up H again? Oh, we couldn't do it for H?
No, H I have.
Yeah, we have D,
I have it for
H, and G.
three, the D, G, and H,
Okay.
because those were the ones that were.
So you're-
higher swings, yeah.
A 7% difference for high school based on elementary.
Yeah.
Which again, that's where I think when you get school choice, then you're gonna see a greater disparity.
Why do you think that does?
Just the comment I made earlier is when we went through all those numbers where you said, okay, you had 25 families from Midway saying, we're school choicing the Wasatch no matter what. You had, sorry, I'm trying to see where I wrote my numbers, at Daniels Canyon. So this splits Daniels, and again, we don't know if those families were in Sawmill or what part of Daniels Canyon, but 73 of those families said, we're school choicing no matter what. At J.R. Smith, and so I don't know where those families are at J.R. Smith, but you have 63 families saying we're school choicing no matter what. So I think in this scenario as opposed to B, you have a lot more families school choicing, and I respect Eric's point about, we don't know what the demographics of those families are, but from what we've heard from our community meetings, like Todd Hollow is gonna go where the bus takes them, right? They'd like to go to Deer Creek, but they rely on the bus. And so I think there is a chance that families that I can figure out, families that rely on transport probably aren't going to school choice as much as families who don't rely on district transportation.
Well, and I think that's what we saw though in the student surveys, when you see only, the parents are saying, yeah, we're gonna school choice, but the kids are like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna have a car,
Right.
I mean.
It's a crystal ball, you don't know for sure.
Yeah, I just look at it and go, Hey,
Okay, did you decide?
It's all fixed.
She left hoping that would happen.
I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be
Okay,
right back.
Should we take a break?
Let's take a break, yeah.
Okay, restroom.
Okay, legally, we have to post the scenario, it has to come out from scenario to like, this is a legitimate plan, proposal, 10 days prior to the 28th, is that correct?
That was Joe's suggestion, yes.
But it's not law, it's her
I think it
suggestion.
is law.
The law says that, and that's where she said it's fuzzy. The spirit of the law was that parents have something to respond to.
So you have to give them a chance to respond to it.
Just
But
one
they-
or-
But if you don't have something
No,
for them to
we can
respond
do
to.
two. He said we
He
can do
said,
two.
she goes, it's not clear, so you can probably get away with two. The intent of the law was, and when she talked to other districts, all of them put out a scenario for parents to respond.
Just one scenario.
Well, here's a legal question.
But she says you can probably get away with two because of the way it's written.
You're wanting us to narrow this down. We don't vote in study session. How does that work legally? Like, we're voting to narrow it down to one or two. Is
Agreeing on
that
So
agreeing or,
That's
yeah? How do
been
we?
the point of all your committees, even the policy committee, is where you narrow down and through these sessions.
Options.
That's been the normal process for all of your decisions.
The vote would be
You
you
narrow it down,
Okay.
but your actual vote on the specifics that
Okay.
you're presenting is happening.
So we're just trying to narrow it down.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
You
So I think
know-
we're similar.
And I will say that I don't think I've ever seen a board get more public input on something than this board has with this issue.
Do you have sticky
I
notes?
mean, it's a great, it's a tribute to you, and I don't know that you're gonna get any more coming up, you know. You've heard.
We've exhausted the public.
So that was my question, like,
Okay,
if we, let's say, come out of here with options, with a couple of options, what, do we just wait for the hearing and let it be argued out, and we decide, or is there more information that we would need? Or are we willing to suggest one option today? Which it sounds like we're a little bit split on things, but maybe we're not, maybe I'm misreading the room a little bit, so.
Okay. I'll do Corey. Okay, everybody write your two.
Two options?
Yes.
Do you want it ranked ordered or just two?
Let's start with two. And then we know where Corey is. And don't put your name on it.
Do I get to read it?
If we haven't settled on a second, can I just start with my one, and then I guess if I need to develop a second, I will, but I just don't want to do it off the cuff.
You were instructed to take two.
I never got any instruction. Well, okay, yes. I'm gonna need more time.
You're gonna get that on your grade,
I
Brianna.
know, I know.
These overall instructions.
you turned it into an origami? Just an airplane. Oh, send it over? I was gonna send it over.
Okay.
Teacher, she only did one.
Well, a no choice is also a choice.
Okay,
There's only three of us. It's a mystery here, okay?
okay.
Side of the
You
table.
just want, how do you want to do this?
Just read it.
Okay. You're taking notes?
Yeah.
Oh, we actually have somebody who also broke the rules and put three choices.
Brad.
H.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Is one, D is two, and B is three.
Oh, in order?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. H,
DB.
B. Okay.
This is a DB.
The second one is DB.
Yep. D. I think that was yours, Jake.
I'm laughing at it. I think we all have an entirely different perspective of what the rules were.
3, 1,
Make two changes, don't rank them. Okay, first choice is this, second choice is this. I'm gonna take it in one. I had three. What the hell's going on? Start over.
I have a suggestion for a norm.
Let's do it. All right.
So
D, you just said D. Your third
D.
card, D.
B,
Wait, there's one D and then.
And one B.
And then there's,
and then there's a D and B, and then there's an H, D, and B.
wait, what?
We need one more here.
There's
1,
something,
2, 3, 4, 5. I
And then
got
we
5.
got the fifth.
there's
The
a
fifth-
B,
Okay.
there's an HDB, a DB.
He confused you when he started reviewing the law.
And an
Oh, it went
H
all-
and D?
Could you do one more time, Superintendent? I think I
Yeah.
messed up. I
Okay.
did.
Please come over.
H,
Take this whole thing.
H, D,
Okay,
B, D, B,
okay.
D,
Just a D.
B,
Not just a B, okay.
And an HD.
This is gonna be the most rewatched.
So we're, oh, I don't know if it'll be last
So
December.
H has 2, D has 4, B has 3.
Sorry, say that again?
H has 2, D has 4, B has 3 votes.
Okay, so can we narrow it down? And again, I'm trying to a little bit, I mean, I'll always have a decision, but honor a little bit our 2 areas too. Like Corey, who, the JR, he came back with D as his top choice, right?
That's what I texted
And
him,
he would
said yes.
put
D
H
was
as a
his-
second choice.
Yes, and H.
Do you want me to ask a second?
He said that,
it
he
was
said
H.
H.
He said it was H. He said H was made the most sense to him from a community level, but numbers wise, D did, and so D was his choice. That's kind of what he said.
So that would put it at 5.
Because he was
right,
worried,
for
he was worried about school
No,
choice.
D
No,
is the
he
only
voted
one
for
down.
D. 4 is
Yeah.
D.
He was
H
worried about
and
the school
H
choice
3.
piece, and that's
Yeah.
why he didn't do H.
Yeah.
D has 4, B has 3.
So it sounds like we have some we could kick out. It sounds like we've at least narrowed it from, how many do we have, 8 total, to HDB, right?
Right?
I mean, that's progress.
Well, do we want to rank order those now?
Yeah.
Okay.
H, D, or B.
So
Steph,
can-
are we doing this right?
I think
So
You
speak.
know what, it has greatly improved in the last week.
Okay, so,
okay,
hang
let
on,
me tell you,
I want
this-
to
Greatly improved.
speak
These sticky
to him
notes.
why. I want to hear why. I want the D and H.
The sticky notes is not so much for us. I'm just protecting.
It could be a little bit on that, like, we'd have to remember back to what Corey said. So I would probably try to speak in remembering what Corey said. Go ahead.
I was saying, to me, you decide either an HD combo, and then you could hash out if that's what you chose,
Could you
or a B,
go to them, Eric?
right? I mean, that's really the 2 things you're
Yeah,
trying to
it's 2
decide here.
things. Like,
And if you choose B, then that's the selection. And if you choose the HD, then you can argue about
Yeah.
what that is.
Yeah.
But really, the 2 choices are
B and D.
B and D.
Split
And then if
JR.
If you choose D, then you can decide about, should we move D to H?
yeah,
So H is Highway 40 up Coyote, which means you're splitting 2 elementary schools.
yep.
And it starts at Deer Creek at 75 kids higher. And then G, Highway 40 to SR 30, oh, not G, sorry, okay, that wasn't one, I'll just scroll that out. D is all the way Highway 40, so then you're.
That's E.
D's current J.R. Smith
D is
boundary.
correct.
Okay, and okay, I do have a question then. What percentage of J.R. Smith does that send to one and the other? What are you're splitting how much?
Brad, how are
I
you
think
doing
it's
on time?
37.
It's been about 60/40.
60/40.
I really need to go, but
60/40 is the split where it is currently in D.
Go with that, sure.
So 60/40
And
split.
you ranked ordered them, so
Yeah.
we're good.
Okay, so we got where you want to be?
D is a
Final answer?
Okay,
nope,
but,
that's on the 28th.
but on that 60/40 split, I
For
think.
the day.
I think we do need to think about the Cove meeting where they said, we don't like where that split is. So on D, are you just disregarding that you're splitting a neighborhood and act, like they don't,
Right, right.
I guess like you said, it could be D or H, they're similar, but I think if you're voting for D, you're voting for what they said we don't like.
I think at the end of the day, it's not disregarding, it's the fact that we have 7,000 plus kids, of which 2,700 of them, 2,600 of them are going to be going to the 2 high schools. And we can't just think about a neighborhood with 50 kids.
But
I
if
mean-
the boundary you're talking about goes right through
Yeah,
their
it's-
community, you do need to think about them.
We are thinking about them, but we're taking their opinion in totality with all of the other opinions on what's best for everybody in the community.
It doesn't, I'm not sure it goes right through. I mean, we might need to
I
look.
get it.
But I think that we could look at the specifics of
Right.
that line to make that plus or minus 10 or whatever. To me, what we're trying to really get to is, do we look at and tweak the DH scenario, or are we going with the B
And
scenario?
I guess help me understand why, those of you who like the DH, why? Because you've heard mine, I don't think it speaks to safety, I don't think it speaks to feeder patterns. I guess do you like it because you feel like it speaks to the proximity? Not for everybody though.
Okay, can you pull up D or H, either one? Okay, so to counteract what you said about the feeder patterns, that area that you're talking about where there's, right, Southfield Road and things like that, we have a bypass that's coming. Whether we like it or not, it's coming. Whether we think it's needed or not, it's coming.
Okay, with that said, I looked at that last night though.
Hold on.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So if we look at that and we say, okay, we've got, there are going to be all new traffic things, whether it's the bypass, whether it's stoplights along Highway 40 or whatever it is. That road, Highway 40, is going to be slowed down. It's already slowed down, it's missed down to 45. It's gonna, as more growth keeps happening north, it's gonna keep getting lower and lower. And they'll extend out the 45 and they'll keep doing that. Same thing around this, on the south end on 189. They will put something eventually.
And now they're slating a flyover because I went to the UDOT meeting. But my concern is, that I looked on the UDOT website last night when I was prepping for this meeting. They're not even slating to start the bypass till 2030. Right now, they're doing the environmental study. So, I mean, we've been planning on the bypass for years. So you're saying, let's make plans for 5 years out, when you're right, enrollment could be totally different.
Actually, what I'm really saying is, you already have a stoplight. You have a stoplight at Walmart. If you really care that much, drive to the stoplight.
No, but I'm talking about the intersection at Dutch Brothers. We have to take that to the roundabout. There's nothing there at that intersection. That's the safety concern right there.
Well, you don't have to. You can go all the way to the end of the road and turn right. You don't have to turn at Dutch Brothers.
Go to the stoplight and then you're going by Heber Valley, you're saying, and then coming down.
If you're that worried about turning at, I mean, yes, the left-hand turn stinks, but the right-hand turn is just fine.
Yeah, that would be one.
There are more options on that side, like there's different ways, like today was one way that.
I think there's more unsafe options, like J.R. Smith, I think you do have lights for the majority of the way, but help me through that road. The traffic patterns over there. Why do you think that would be safer?
Jay?
I think Highway 40 is just the natural. 40, does Wheeler Park understand what's happening on the south end of 40? There's going to be 2 more lanes added?
Yeah, we've talked about that. But I think you can make the argument 189 to 40 is also a natural boundary.
Yeah,
I just think we're gonna get more stoplights and, I mean, I hate River Road, anyone who lives in Midway. I hate River Road and, what is that road? What's it called there? No, River Road.
It goes up to Camas.
Main Street, whatever that Main Street.
Oh.
113.
Yeah, 113 where it kind of goes, when it gets right across the river and it goes, and River Road crosses right there, right? Like, that road stinks. Well, it's Main Street, whatever that Main Street is. Center Street. Main Street go the other way. No, it's Main Street. Center Street is north.
In Midway, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want us to vote?
Maybe we can another roundabout.
Not vote.
Oh yeah, another roundabout right there would be great. I don't even know how to do the ones that exist.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do one more, just unofficial opinion. Write down your unofficial opinion.
On one, like if you were in one today?
Yeah.
Or do you want 1 and 2?
1.
1. We already got Brad, so Brad, like, he already wrote this down.
Okay.
See you, Brad, thanks.
Bye, Brad.
Bye, Brad. All the arguments are valid. I'm really struggling.
That makes good.
Well,
Two
but,
decent
so
options.
I guess if we can kind of adjust D and H, do we have to narrow it? I mean, where we could have 2, do we take the public comment on the 2? Because kind of you have 2, right? You're saying you could,
It's up to the board.
Yeah.
For you to make a decision that night, yeah, you can do it verbally, and then we could put a map of yes on that, yeah, we do a change. And she talked about that off your offer roll or something like that with your proposal. She didn't think that would be an issue that night, we could decide.
So we can put 2
Okay,
out.
so here's kind of where we are. We got an H. We got a D.
D is in dog, you're saying?
Yeah. We've got a B. We've got a D. And then we have a D/H.
So it's-
Perfected.
Perfected.
A perfected
For
version.
Like
me,
all
it's
this
4 to 1 for
energy being
DH.
put into one
That's
scenario
my
instead of 6.
Say that again?
Narrowing down the energy to perfect that scenario instead of having all the energy spread across 7 or 8 scenarios.
Perfect.
And I get what
You're
you're-
saying,
yeah.
Jake, perfect.
So maybe it's not totally due, not totally, let's
It's a
go up, let's
combined.
drive the neighborhoods,
Yeah,
let's do some.
let's
Okay.
listen to a lot of what those people
Okay,
say.
so you're saying perfect
DH,
DH,
so you had an H, 2 Ds.
and you have a B, and you have B.
for-
So for right now, if we were to, okay, so our next steps.
Well, I mean, I'll let you guys decide. I mean, if you're looking for consensus, you're probably at 4 to 1 up, like what Jason was saying, doing something with this scenario here and sending Blue Park here. That's what we need to perfect that, and that's where 4 of the votes landed in that DH. Kind of, he said DH perfected,
Bring it back.
H, D, D.
We're at 4 to 1, 1 for B.
One for B and 4 for the something in this category.
Like combining D and H, or tweaking D and H, Brad.
Like maybe going out driving the neighborhoods a little bit, talking to people, tweaking it by a house or two. I remember we asked Joan at one point about that too, like if you put out a specific option and it's selected, but in that hearing or whatever, somebody comes and says, let me tell you my individual situation. And I'll use this as an example. Go back to the 40, straight up 40. So I remember the night of the meetings, there was a lady that lived here, and she was the only one. But if she came in and said, hey, for me, I'm the only person that lives there, will you please send me here? We might adjust the boundary a little for them. What I'm saying is, we asked Eric at some point to ask Joan, okay, if it's tweaked a little bit on the night of the hearing, are we still okay legally? And she said, yeah, as long as it's a minor tweak, but not a major tweak. It's got it.
And she lives right on Highway 40.
Yeah, she just lives right here.
Okay, so you're saying the district's gonna go and, am I hearing you're gonna tweak a new map? That's combining D and H? Is that right?
Yeah, well, look into what the best actual boundary is up there.
Right, is that what you're hearing? Okay.
Because we've got an H, we've got a DH, we've got 2 Ds. And even Corey said his preferred one was to
Yeah.
shift the boundaries, but he chose it because of
The
numbers.
neighborhood numbers.
Okay, so that's the next step.
The neighborhood numbers.
The numbers
And then
in the
do we
neighborhood,
need to
like knowing
reconvene?
where that neighborhood got cut in
Another
half
study session?
compared to the
or-
numbers.
I mean, we can come back with
We
that.
can come back, I mean, you can do that, just do a
If
whole
you wanna
group,
be-
or keep the committee small with those
Boundary
proposals
committee.
and come back.
Or-
Whatever you
or-
want to do.
What does the board prefer?
Let me look at the calendar.
Do we reconvene with the tweaking as the boundary committee or with the whole board? We do have some scheduling conflicts if we try to get the whole board.
So
together.
here's kind of, if we should put it out,
We have fall break next
we
week.
don't get off fall break till the
20th.
20th. So we're really pushing what the suggested, not pushing, we're inside the 10 days if we came back for another study session after fall break. So if
We
we
could
were
also
thinking,
just direct staff to kind of do that and send it out to you for feedback. if you want.
Okay, should we do that? Communicate by email?
I mean, you could do that.
On D and
And maybe
H.
committee on D and H, yeah.
Yeah, because it's gonna, like Corey really needs to be a part of
Yeah.
that.
That
Yes.
is his
Corey
area.
needs to drive the neighborhoods with
Yes.
us and help us see what he sees.
And
Okay.
waiting for the whole board.
So
I
we'll
don't think
just,
is
so
productive
the
time.
district will tweak and we'll communicate by email and then maybe even boundary committee.
Do we meet again before? I don't,
We didn't have one scheduled, but it sounds like it'd be good to do that Monday or Tuesday.
Yep.
You come back from.
after fall break, you're saying.
Oh, after fall break, yeah.
Are people in town for
But we
fall
have to
break?
have it by then so that.
You need to notice,
Can we not-
you need to notice the meeting
We
again.
can, we can put
10
out
days
on the
before the
10th.
28th, so.
No, I was wondering like if we got us back together real quick.
7, 8,
I
9,
fly out
10.
Monday night.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
gonna have to be
probably
by
not.
email
We
and
have to put it
boundary
out by
committee.
By the 18th, which is a Saturday, but
So let me-
But the board will definitely be prepped and understand what's going on
Let me-
before the hearing.
Let me kind of reiterate, so the suggestion at this point is to tweak that and then put out to notice. That is the boundary for the public hearing.
So the DH tweaked scenario would be the option for public comment, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, do we need to meet as a boundary committee? Can we do it? Oh my gosh, no, we can't.
Because it's Friday, then fall break.
Today's Friday.
Yeah, I
Today's
don't
Friday,
think
so it's
so.
fall break. Well, fall break for families, we're still gonna do Tuesday.
And this has to go out on
Well,
the
we can do
20th?
it through email or you want just communication, Zoom.
Yeah.
Something like that, Friday. If we
Maybe
were,
just
if we were to go,
take
if we were to go off the suggestion, if you wanted to, I guess, I mean, I'll throw this out here, and I'm not saying we do it. No, we can't do it because we already noticed it for the 28th. I was going to say we could delay it back to the first week in November to buy us a little time, but we've noticed it out on the 28th.
I think the changes are gonna be minute enough.
Yeah.
That you're not gonna need, and it's gonna be based on the people that live there, and a careful review of it, but I think that
We're
there's not
okay.
gonna be probably a lot of like disagreement about what it
Okay.
is.
So basically, we're down to B and bubba.
Well, no, not B, because they said it's one option that they put out for the public hearing.
I think we
John
said
said
two.
one or two.
Do we can put out a second one if we want.
Well, so I guess my question though is where that's one vote, is that what, I mean, yeah, I fought hard for it, but it was one vote, so are you going
Yeah,
two
so
with one
I
vote,
think
I
the
guess?
question is, do we need
Right,
to
that-
have
yeah.
that one?
I mean, would I
Because the
love it? Yes,
majority-
Or is
but
it
I
a
was
Okay.
one
or is
vote.
it
So,
considered a
okay,
vote?
so we're gonna put one out there and it's a tweaking of H and D.
I love B, but I was one vote, I'll respect the
Can you make sure we're right at doing that
process.
in this
I will
this
double
situation?
check with John
Legally.
as soon as we're done. And I guess, according to what you said before, you could even throw D and H both out there and say, here
No,
says we need to.
I was misunderstanding. No, okay.
Because I think, like you said, the changes are so minute, let's not give two options, let's give a much better
Little tiny
combination
and
of
make
the
sure
two.
that we
if we
get that
Okay.
one right.
All right, I'm following
Just
now.
make sure we're okay with
Yep.
Okay. Are we good with that, Brad? You good with that?
I guess I have it right here, I have it
Good
right
with
here,
that?
actually.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Corey. Brianne, where are you?
I will respect the process, so I think that's the purpose of a board, right? It's the power of a team, and so I fought hard for what I think was right, but I respect, like I was one vote, you know? It's okay. I think,
Keep both H again.
do I agree? No.
H.
And so in the issue of transparency, where we just had that, like now you know where I stand, right? So there's no surprises per our norms and discussion this morning.
Good modeling.
Thanks.
Good.
See, I am a good student. I can follow directions.
He's very well done.
it. All right, H.
She's selectively following directions.
I pick and choose, cherry pick.
And even if I mean, we still have three. Yeah, even if I floundered, 'cause yeah.
I think the intent would be to tweak that by the time, I mean, we're all still at work, not on break through Tuesday. So, but it probably needs to be out by Friday, next Friday. That's kind of the timeline we're on. So we'll try to make this between all of our professional development and all that kind of stuff, we'll try to make this a priority on that Monday and Tuesday.
And is that emailed? What does that look like? How does that go out? Emailed to everybody in the district?
I was on the website, emailed everybody.
When we notice,
Yeah.
it would go, I think.
It has to be mailed,
Yeah.
a physical mailer and on the website and the
And-
normal ways that we
Is
notice.
it to
on
the
this.
whole community or just those that have kids?
It is to those that have kids, we have to send the letter to.
And is it a description? Is it a map? What does it look like so they can see?
Oh, it's only those that, middle school and high school kids will all get it because we're messing with their boundaries, right?
Yeah, it's technically only the students in the four, correct me if I'm wrong, in the four boundaries that we're changing.
Yeah.
The secondary.
It's the middle school kids and the current high school.
We'd probably just send them
What
think that would
is, or
be
just to
better.
send it?
Yeah.
to
Yeah, to everybody. Just a request we got from some meetings, if it goes out as a map, I don't know if it's possible, but a lot of people said, could you put the 2 high schools on it? And like some landmarks, a lot of people had a hard time reading the
We
maps.
can maybe zoom in on the.
Or like
The land, like,
label the main roads or something, yeah.
where the schools
Little
are.
Smiths,
Yeah, we can
Little
do
Dairy
that.
King.
We'll put out a time that we'll do that next week. We'll figure it out maybe on Monday. And then if anybody wants to come for a ride, come for a ride.
The road, where is the county park?
Probably be determined on when Corey can go for a ride.
It's just business.
I think he does. I think the numbers throw him off just a little bit.
All right, are we at a good spot? That was good. All right. Okay, everyone.
See that video at all?
Yes. Brad's going to stay, so yeah, please show the video. That'd be great.
How is it going out?
Well, we'll see.
Eric, thank you for that work.
Thank you, Eric.
Brett, thanks for your work on that.
Thank you,
too.
Brett.
Thanks for your
Yes,
work.
Brett, thank you.
Thanks.
You can stay and watch the video.
Brad, you want to help me?
Yep.
Input 3.
We did pretty good even on this morning.
Yeah, we did.
We just didn't have sound on through the TV. It was just on.
Were you watching it or trying it down here?
We watched it and
We watched it.
Is there sound? Just the Iberhawks.
She's that vibe that decorates on the
love it. It made me want to go there.
That's the purpose, right?
That's exciting. That's cool. When does that go out, or what do we?
So Kirsten and I talked this morning, it's kind of up to you guys how you want to use that now. And we can send it, we can post it.
You could do it after the boundary, I think.
Do it after the
Seems like
boundary,
we talked about
or
After they're voted
John,
on.
that's a good point.
I'd rather do it
Brianna,
before.
when do you want it to go out?
Oh,
All right.
Never mind.
Say before the.
it's out.
I agree.
It's out.
What'd you say, Jake?
There's no decision, we just solved that
Oh, it just went?
We just sent it, anyone watching it just saw the videos.
True, yeah.
Oh, it just went out.
Well, we're being recorded right now.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's an easy
Yes,
way to put it
So
out.
load it up and put it on the
Let's
website.
post it.
Talking about Brianna right
Put it
now,
out
I
there.
probably agree, like, I think it'd be fair to even put that out. Even if you're a Wasatch High student in the Old Mill boundary, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I just put it out to, my suggestion is that we just put it out to everybody, as we hit even fall break and let
Yeah.
people watch it.
That's great. That's great. Agree.
Okay.
So let's send it to the masses.
Thank you.
Send it to the
Thank you
masses.
guys.
Okay, we'll go.
Sure that we.
Staff first, which I recommend,
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
and then parents.
Sure.
And
let's-
then community.
Sure, let's do it
All right.
Monday. Let's get it in everyone's, all the staff on Monday, and then we can send
They're
it.
still here, so they're still checking in. Is
Yeah.
that cool?
Then we can do it to everybody else, like on Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. All right, is there a motion? No. Yes, is there a motion to adjourn the study session?
Motion to adjourn the study session.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Study session adjourned.
Thank you for your work, guys. That
Yeah.
was
Thank you guys.
It's been a lot of work.
hard work. Well,
Today.
now the hard work is